A young woman tries a new medicine, but things take a shocking turn. What begins as simple side effects soon spirals into a mystery filled with secrets and lies. Was it really the medicine, or something far more dangerous? Welcome to Cinemanned, where we explore the most gripping mystery thrillers. Buckle up, this story is darker than you can imagine. Emily is a 28-year-old graphic designer. Her husband, Martin, has been in prison for the past 4 years for committing financial fraud in trading. Today, he's finally being released. When Martin steps out of jail, they share an emotional hug. After years of separation, they return home and reconnect intimately, finally fulfilling their long-held desires. But despite this, Emily doesn't seem happy. The next day, Emily sits in her car in the parking lot. Suddenly, for reasons unknown, she crashes her car into the wall. At first glance, it appears to be a suicide attempt. Emily survives and is rushed to the hospital. Since the incident seems like a suicide attempt, a psychiatrist named Dr. John Banks is called to evaluate her mental state. If it was indeed a suicide attempt, it would indicate severe depression, which needs to be treated as a serious condition. Emily tells Dr. Banks that she can't stay in the hospital for long. Her husband has just been released from prison and isn't working yet, so Emily is the sole breadwinner. She suggests that the stress of supporting the household might be the reason behind her depression. John discovers that Emily intentionally crashed her car into a wall to injure herself. Realizing the severity of her condition, he decides she needs proper treatment. However, Emily insists that she doesn't want to stay in the hospital and would rather visit John's clinic for therapy. John agrees to discharge her on the condition that she comes to his clinic once a week for sessions. He prescribes some medications and lets her go home. Meanwhile, Emily's stress becomes evident at her workplace. Her colleagues, especially her boss, start noticing her struggles. Emily begins her therapy sessions with Dr. John. During these sessions, she opens up about her life story. She shares how she moved to New York, worked at a bar in her early days, and met Martin there. She talks about how their relationship grew and eventually led to marriage. We learn that Martin was wealthy at the time, while Emily was just an ordinary girl working at the bar. Emily also reveals that she has struggled with depression before. She was previously treated by a psychiatrist named Dr. Victoria Sievert. Curious about Emily's medical history, John decides to meet Dr. Victoria. She tells him that she treated Emily for 9 months after she suffered a miscarriage, which had triggered her depression. John informs Victoria about the current medications he's prescribed for Emily. Victoria suggests that John consider trying a new medication for Emily, one that's heavily advertised on TV and is gaining popularity in the market. People are often drawn to new and popular things, and these can have a positive psychological effect. Victoria explains to John that she has experimented with this approach on many of her patients. She prescribed a new medicine called Ablexa, and it significantly improved their condition. John is shocked to hear this. Meanwhile, Emily and Martin attend a friend's party. At the party, Emily falls into a deep depressive episode, which all the guests notice. Later, one evening, Emily experiences another depressive episode at the metro railway station, but the police intervene and save her. One day, John is sitting with his wife, Dora, in their living room when Emily arrives. From her words, it's clear that Emily is feeling hopeless about her future. She tells John that she's been taking the prescribed medication, but is experiencing dizziness. She also mentions that her colleague, Julia, had similar issues and tried a new medicine called Ablexa, which helped her feel better. Based on this, John decides to prescribe Ablexa to Emily. However, this new medicine comes with some side effects. John has connections with high-profile individuals who are associated with the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, the U.S. organization responsible for approving drugs and medicines for sale in the market. Before any medicine is approved, it must undergo human trials. If the results are positive, the medicine receives an NDA, New Drug Application Certificate, which allows it to proceed to the sales stage. One woman from John's network offers him a job. His task would be to conduct human trials for a new medicine, observe its effects, and submit reports on any side effects. For this job, John is offered a high salary of $50,000. John is thrilled by the offer and shares the news with his wife, Dora, who is equally excited. John is thrilled because he's about to become very rich soon. Meanwhile, Emily starts taking the new medicine, Ablexa. She begins to feel a newfound excitement in her intimate relationship with Martin, who also notices this positive change in her. However, things take a dark turn. Emily starts sleepwalking and even working in her sleep, likely side effects of Ablexa. Concerned, Martin consults John and suggests stopping the medication. But Emily insists that Ablexa makes her feel energetic and refuses to quit. She even threatens to switch doctors if Martin pushes further. Hearing this, John becomes cautious and allows Emily to continue taking the Ablexa. One day, while Emily is cutting vegetables with a knife, Martin returns home from a business trip. As he approaches her, Emily suddenly stabs him in the stomach repeatedly. At that moment, it's clear that Emily is sleepwalking, completely unaware of her actions. She appears to be in a trance-like state, as if hypnotized. The next day, the police arrive, take Martin's body, and arrest Emily. Tearfully, Emily tells the police that she had no control over her actions and wasn't in her senses during the incident. The government lawyer calls John because Emily insists on meeting him. John explains that he was treating Emily for depression and mentions her history of sleepwalking, which could have contributed to the tragedy. The lawyer presents two possibilities. Either this was a deliberate murder, or Emily is a victim of improper medical treatment. If Emily's actions are linked to the side effects of the medication, John could face serious consequences. As her doctor, he prescribed the depression medication that led to these tragic events. This means both Emily and John could be held responsible. John becomes extremely anxious after hearing this. However, the government allows him to continue Emily's treatment until a final decision is made. John meets Emily, who blames everything on the Ablexa tablets, claiming their side effects caused her to act unconsciously. John then approaches Victoria, as Ablexa was her suggestion. But now, Victoria denies ever recommending the medication to John. Meanwhile, Emily's lawyer cites a similar case where a wife committed her husband's murder in an unconscious state and was acquitted. The lawyer warns John that if Emily continues to blame her treatment, his problems will only grow. John grows even more stressed. Martin's mother reads Emily's statement on a debate show, where Emily claims she's a victim of improper treatment, directly blaming John. The public learns that Emily was taking Ablexa, and the controversy escalates. The representatives of Ablexa deny any wrongdoing, stating that their medicine is FDA approved and has been used by many without harm. After watching the interview, John realizes he's in serious trouble. The media begins to hound John, and his other patients start losing trust in him. The hospital authorities also question his actions, concluding that John made a mistake due to stress and overwork. As a result, John's home life begins to fall apart. A court case is underway where the court acknowledges Emily's depression and the potential side effects of Ablexa. The court acquits Emily of her husband's murder, saving both her and John from legal consequences. Emily is sent to a psychiatric hospital for treatment, where John continues to oversee her care. However, John now faces a new problem. Due to the side effects of Ablexa, people are losing trust in the medication, and its sales have plummeted. The blame falls on the woman who approved Ablexa, the same woman who had offered John the $50,000 job. She becomes furious with John, believing that as Emily's doctor, he is partly responsible for the fallout. She angrily tells John that these incidents are ruining his medical reputation. As a result, John's $50,000 job offer is withdrawn, leaving him confused and desperate. A friend suggests a risky solution. John should imply in court that he and Emily had a relationship, which led her to kill her husband. This would protect John's medical reputation, restore Ablexa's status, and save his job offer. The friend's idea stems from a past incident where one of John's patients, Allison, was infatuated with him and later committed suicide. Although there was no relationship, rumors had circulated at the time. John's friend argues that sacrificing his character could save his career. Reluctantly, John takes this risky option. However, the media quickly spreads the news, causing turmoil in John's personal life. His wife becomes suspicious, and John struggles to convince her that he never had a relationship with Allison. One day, while researching Ablexa, John comes across an article by Victoria. In it, she mentions that some of her patients experienced sleepwalking as a side effect of the medication. John confronts Victoria, asking why she never warned him about these risks. Victoria defends herself, saying all treatments have side effects, but the focus must remain on helping the patient. This makes John suspicious. He begins to wonder if Emily, after reading Victoria's article, orchestrated the entire situation. To investigate, he visits the parking lot where Emily crashed her car and meets the witness who saw the incident. According to the witness, Emily had worn a seatbelt during the car crash, which suggests it wasn't a suicide attempt, but a deliberate act. John then visits Emily's media office, where he notices a car advertisement claiming that wearing a seatbelt during an accident can save lives. John also inquires about a girl named Julia in Emily's office. You may recall that Emily once mentioned Julia, saying her colleague also took Ablexa and saw positive results. After thorough investigation, John discovers there's no one named Julia in Emily's office. When John confronts Emily, she admits that Julia didn't work in her office, but was someone she knew from a bar 5 years ago. John realizes Emily is lying, but he can't figure out why she would kill her husband and risk her own life. John's friend points out that Ablexa's reputation has been severely damaged, and some people involved in trading have profited from its downfall. John checks the trading site and finds that Ablexa's shares have plummeted, causing significant financial losses for many. Slowly, John begins to piece together Emily's plan. To uncover the truth, he decides to play a game. He tells Emily that to help her leave the mental hospital, he needs evidence to prove to the court that she has recovered. He proposes giving her a truth serum that will make her drowsy, allowing him to ask her questions. She'll answer truthfully. John turns on a video camera and injects Emily with what he claims is a truth serum. Emily acts drowsy and answers his questions, confirming John's suspicion that she was faking her depression. The twist? John had injected her with salt water, not a truth serum. Salt water doesn't cause drowsiness, so Emily's act was exposed. With this evidence, John approaches a government lawyer, demanding the case be reopened. However, the lawyer explains that under American law, a person acquitted of a crime cannot be retried for the same offense. He also warns John that reopening the case would damage both their careers, as it would reveal John's failure to detect Emily's acting and the lawyer's role in acquitting her. Reluctantly, they decide to drop the matter. But John is still determined to uncover Emily's plan. He visits the mental hospital to meet her and notices Victoria's name on the visitor register. This makes him realize Victoria is involved in Emily's scheme. John confronts Victoria, lying that he knows about her plan. Shocked, Victoria plays her final card. She had taken 7 photos of John and Emily together, making it seem like they were in a relationship. She even gifted Emily lingerie to support her story. Victoria sends these photos to John's wife, who loses faith in him and leaves. Still, John remains unfazed. Victoria invites him to meet, threatening to release the photos to the media if he doesn't stay silent, which would ruin his medical career. John counters by threatening to expose how Victoria manipulated Ablexa's shares and made millions from its downfall. This leaves Victoria panicked. Meanwhile, John manipulates Emily into believing Victoria has betrayed her. He carries a suitcase, making Emily think it contains money from Victoria. Emily, fearing she'll be trapped in the mental hospital forever, decides to support John. She reveals the entire plan. Emily married Martin for money, but his trading manipulations led to their financial ruin. She learned trading tricks from him and later met Victoria, a psychiatrist. Together, they hatched a plan to target Ablexa. Emily faked depression, crashing her car, acting depressed at parties, and staging a suicide attempt to create the illusion of Ablexa's side effects. She never took John's prescribed medication, but took Ablexa to ensure it showed up in her medical reports. Victoria bet on Ablexa's shares falling, a high-risk move since the shares were soaring. Emily's staged murder of Martin, blamed on Ablexa's side effects, caused the shares to plummet, making Victoria a millionaire. John, now aware of the entire scheme, plays a double game. He releases Emily from the hospital, but ensures she must visit his clinic regularly. Emily meets Victoria, unaware that John has set a trap. She confesses everything, which the police overhear via a hidden microphone. Victoria is arrested for trading manipulation and conspiracy to murder. John sends Emily back to the mental hospital, submitting a report stating she must remain there for life. He reunites with his family, returning to his happy life. The movie ends here. If you enjoyed this suspenseful drama, please comment and subscribe for more thrilling stories. See you soon with a new mystery.